everybody, and welcome back to episode 5 of Coffee Chats. Today I am here with my friend Jess, who I was in a flat with at uni last year, and we're basically going to talk about what uni was like for us last year. It's going to be more of a conversation rather than just me asking Jess questions. But to start off with, so that we can get to know you, what are 3 fun facts about you?
Written them down so don't forget them. So the first one, I feel like I notice it more since I've started recording myself, but I don't really have like an accent. I think I have like 10 all mixed into one, because there's certain words that say in accents that I don't like. I'm not from there. Like I've never been from there. I don't know if it's from watching different TV shows.
Maybe.
As you pick up different twangs, but that's fact 1. Fact number 2 is when I was younger, I was actually so shy that I didn't speak up until the age of 5, and I had to go to like speech therapy so I could like learn how to actually talk. And fact number 3 is I was actually predicted by my doctor to be 5'11", but I'm only 5'6", so okay. I think that's why my legs are so long, my body isn't. Actually, for both me and my sister, oh my god, we reckon they'll be like 5'11", 6 foot. We're both 5'6".
Okay, so what was the highlight of your week?
I think probably getting my room done up. I've got new wardrobes and a new bed, which I spent a week without a bed, so I was like, literally my mattress was just on the floor. So yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah, my bed's coming on Sunday. I think I'm very excited.
Oh, really? Yeah, I heard you were doing up your room as well. I was like, thank God I'm not the only one.
Okay. I'm not actually sure if you drink coffee, but because this is called Coffee Chats, I ask everyone what their coffee order is. So
yeah. So mine, if I'm drinking coffee, it will be, I feel like it's so basic, but either like an iced soya latte or just soya latte, depending on the weather. Yeah, I thought that was like my go-to.
Yeah. Okay. And then like whatever you want to say for this one, but like what do you do? So like uni, whatever.
Yeah, so I'm at uni. I do combined, so I do media communications with drama, and yeah, I work part-time as well in retail.
Okay, so the next question is like moving on to uni, and that is what our courses are. So you've already said that you do media and drama.
Yeah.
So do you want to like talk a bit about it?
Yeah, so originally I actually planned to do acting at uni, and then for health reasons I had to swap to drama with combined honours. So I planned to do drama as my major and then media communications as my minor. I actually got to uni and preferred media communications way more, so I swapped, and so now media communications is my major and then drama is my minor.
Okay. What is it like? What is it like doing a combined course? Because I only do a single one. So like, what is the difference?
We are sort of like split between the 2 courses, which is in some ways it's good because you have like a mix. You're not doing the same thing all week, but then it's also you're sort of split between 2 groups, so you have like different friendship groups between the 2. I feel like it's something I thought I would struggle with a lot more, having like the split, but it's not too bad. I sort of have, luckily they're sort of all due in at different times, sort of different weeks apart, so I found it okay. I think if everything was due in on the same week I'd struggle, but
yeah, because when I was like applying, I was thinking about doing criminology with sociology. I didn't do people were like, oh yeah, that's going to be like more work, but I don't think it really is. Still have the same.
No, I think because instead of sort of doing however many modules you do for a full time, it's just split, so it's almost like one module but just between 2 different subjects. So it was a thing I thought I'd struggle with. I think it's also really good if you're not quite sure what you want to do, you can sort of try out the 2 different things and see what you prefer.
Okay, so I do criminology, which is a single degree thing.
Yeah, single honours.
Yeah. And I chose it because I was interested in like that sort of thing. I did psychology and sociology A level, which is sort of how I ended up, because I didn't really want to do either of them for my degree, but in my opinion, criminology is sort of like a combination of them. And yeah, like, I don't really know, there's not much I can say. We just have like 3 modules a term, and yeah, there's not really loads I can say about it, but it is really interesting, and if it's something you're interested in, then yeah, I think it's a good course to do. And also, one of the reasons I chose it is because it's a social science, which means that like there's a lot of skills that you learn in it that can be transferred to other things, so you don't have to just be like when I graduate, I don't have to like just become a police if that's not what I want to do. So it doesn't, yeah, if that makes sense. Okay, so Jess took a gap year and I didn't, so we're going to sort of talk about differences between them, because I know that can be quite a big decision to make, like once you're finished with school, whether you should take a gap year or not. So do you want to talk about yours first?
Yeah, so I originally didn't choose to take a gap year. I had to take it for medical reasons, which I think it definitely does have benefits in terms of it gives you an extra year to sort of like grow up a little bit. So it feels sort of I know a lot of people, if they're sort of very nervous about moving out or going to like meet new people and stuff like that, it's really good. So in my gap year I worked over the Christmas. I did an extra just like course. It was like a 1-day A-level course at a college in my house, and then I travelled for 2 weeks. So I originally planned to travel for a bit longer, but just because of like different reasons, I ended up just like pushing it all down to 2 weeks. So I just did, I travelled to France, Italy, and Hungary. So I did those, which I think definitely helped me gain. I sort of had to like be able to talk to new people, because there was something I needed, that I had to go and ask like someone in the train station for something, or yeah, I think it's also nice just to be away sort of without your parents, because I definitely rely on them a lot.
Yeah.
So even if I'm like in a restaurant and we're like ordering food, I'll be like, I'll say it to my mum, and then I'm like, yeah, mum, can you ask the waitress for this? And she's like, why? Yeah. But yeah, so it definitely made me sort of come out of my shell a little bit. I'm still shy, but I'm just not as shy as I was. Yeah, so I think it was good because it kind of gave me a year just to kind of also kind of figure out what I wanted to do for uni, because obviously you have to pick one course, so you don't want to pick the wrong one or anything.
Yeah.
I think as well, one thing with a gap year, I know a lot of people question, is if when you go into uni, will you feel really weird because you're that year older? I mean, for me, I'm born at the end of July, so I'm sort of similar age anyway to the people the year below, but I will say you don't really notice a difference. Like in the flat, there was never like too much of a difference between anyone that was like 19 and anyone that was 18. So yeah.
And we did have some other people in our flat who had
taken. Yeah, I think there was 3 of us that had taken a gap year.
Yeah, I don't think it made it, like, you wouldn't have been like, oh, you're like, they're way more mature than us or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So I didn't take one because, I don't know, I feel like if I was going to do it now, I might, because I just think I would probably, but I wouldn't have really wanted to take one unless it was to go travelling, because like I don't really know what else I would have done. Like I would have just worked, which I can just get a job at uni if I need to. So if I did take one, it would have been to go travelling, but then I would have like needed to save up and stuff, which is probably why I didn't. And also I just kind of wanted to get straight into uni. And I don't think it's made, like, either way would have made that much of a difference to my experience. So I really think it's just like whatever one you want to do and whatever one fits your circumstances. And like I know some people take them to work, which is good if you need to save up the money, because it could be stressful to like have to work alongside your degree. But then we have a lot of free time at uni, so if it is something that you like, you want to work but you don't need to before you go, it's not like you won't be able to work at uni, if that makes sense.
I was going to say that uni almost, it's kind of like good to have a job just to get out and see other people.
Yeah,
Especially with us, because we were on campus, so to actually get off campus for like a day is so good.
Especially as our campus was like out in the country.
I remember I did get quite claustrophobic at times on campus. It would literally go like a month and I would have only left for like the food shop and that's it.
Yeah, and then sometimes you'd be like, I can't be bothered to get the bus just to walk around town for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I definitely.
It's the thing as well, you'd like go to walk around town, but you'd end up spending so much money.
Yeah, and then you need a job because of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were in the same flat. We were really, really lucky with our flat, and I feel like it's something that's not actually talked about as much as like really bad flats because there's like not as much to say. But like, yeah. So what do you?
I literally still can't believe how lucky we were.
It was such a good flat. We all got on really well. We would all just like sit in the kitchen all the time and talk to each other. We were in a flat of 10 people, which was good because there was always pretty much somebody around. Yeah, we were basically just really lucky, and we did know people that didn't get on with their flat, which I do think can like change your experience. But yeah, is there anything you want to say about?
Yeah, I think to be honest, it was the one thing I remember when a lot of people asked how many people in the flat, and I said 10. They were like, "Oh my god, what? Like you've got 10 people? Like oh my god, there must be arguments." And I was like, "No, I think honestly 10's quite a good number because there's sort of I think because there's 10, there's always enough space in the flat for everyone. It's like kind of a small flat, but also there was always someone around." Like you'd always do like the little walk into the kitchen to pretend to check the fridge to see if anyone was around. And there was a good mix of like early risers and then also people who stayed up really late. So no matter what the time was, there'd always be people in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So we would all make dinner, like mainly the girls make dinner at the same time. And some of the boys would make it like really, really late. So even if you like woke up or you weren't tired or something and you can go to sleep, there was always someone in the kitchen.
And we would always mainly go out as a flat as well, which makes that experience a bit nicer because you don't have to worry about like who you're going to come home with, who you're going to get there with. We just all left together and all mainly
and we'd probably stick together as well.
Yeah,
like no one would be left on their own like out or anything. Or
I think like I know people hear probably a lot before they go to uni about having a flat that they don't get on with, like a nightmare flatmate or something. But I think if you put in the effort to get to know everyone and just be as nice to everyone as possible and understand like that everyone's trying to settle in,
I think that's it.
At the end of the day, everyone wants to make friends.
I think it's understanding people's differences. So everyone's kind of the same, but obviously some people you'd have a lot more like you'd understand what you chat to people about sort of thing, or it's just sort of a lot of people were sort of just saying like, oh, I'm going down to the kitchen, do you want to come? Or people down in the kitchen like starting a conversation, whereas a lot of other people I think would probably just go, oh no, I don't talk, like we don't really get on, so we just don't try and talk.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like if you walk into the kitchen, especially in the first couple of weeks, and there's someone in that you haven't really spoken to yet, I know it can be like kind of scary, but just be like, hi, like how are you settling in, sort of thing, like what course do you do? And there may be people in your flat that you're not as close to. I mean, we got on with everyone, but there were definitely people who were like closer to other people within the flat. But just try and be as friendly as possible to everyone. And
I was going to say, even if like you have a chat to them and just go, oh hi, how are you, and they don't necessarily respond, don't just like leave it at that, like try again at another point, because there were some people who didn't necessarily talk to at the start of the year, but by the end of the year we were like chatting away. And
people might be shy. It's like a big change for everyone to like leave their like and come and live in a new flat with 10 different people.
Exactly, in a new place. And
so like just keep chipping away at people, even if at the start you're a bit like scared, and it's going to be scary for you as well, but also I feel like this is a worry a lot of people have to do with accommodation. Is there like going to be enough space to store your food and stuff? And like in ours we had kind of 2 kitchens in one, so there were like 2 sides, so 2 ovens, 2 fridges, and then like counter space, and it worked really well because there was never a time when like we were all in there cooking at the same time, or and if you get on with everyone, people will be like okay if you just say, oh, do you mind if I just put this on your shelf for a second because there's no room on mine or whatever. So yeah, like I know that can be a worry, but try not to worry about that too much, I guess. Okay.
So that was one thing I was worried about. Was, oh my god, what if I like can't put anything anywhere? And I remember a lot of people had said before they had stuff taken, like food and stuff, but I don't think it was just our flat. We were so lucky, but I had sort of, I think me and Eloise had the most space because we had like half a fridge each, and then like half a door. Yeah, whereas everyone else had like, everyone still had like one shelf in the fridge, and then everyone has their own cupboard, 2 cupboards.
Yeah, and a drawer.
Yeah, you have one like above, one below. So it's one, and even like if you need to like dry stuff you would put into the cupboards, you can always keep in your room if you sort of have like too much. But also I think everyone shared a lot of food.
Yeah,
there was always people,
as we got on so well, people could be like, oh, do you have any crisps or whatever? And
yeah, or like, oh, this is about to go out of date, does anyone want it, sort of thing. We had our Christmas dinner.
Yeah, that was so cute.
I think that was the most chaotic time in the kitchen.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, that was like the only time when, except for when we were leaving, we were all in there for like an extended period of time together. But it's still like we were all fine, we all fitted. And I think actually having a Christmas dinner is a really good thing to do with your flat, even if you're not as close, because it's just like a nice way to end the first semester.
Yeah, it's the first like half of the year.
Yeah, so definitely recommend doing that. Okay, do you have anything else you want to say about the accommodation?
No, not really, not that I can think of.
Okay, so the last sort of talking point about uni is, what are our first year regrets, and also what do you think that we sort of did well?
I think obviously just like getting on, and like being willing to talk to anyone or do whatever. I think that was something we did really well. I'd say regrets is just, we talked about it so much, but we just kept putting things off.
That's what I was gonna say.
We'd have so many things we wanted to do, like we wanted to go for like picnics and stuff like that. And we were like, oh, we'll do it when it's sunny, but obviously with the whole corona thing it all got cancelled. Yeah, I think it's just like putting things off is definitely a big regret.
Yeah, that's definitely what I was gonna say. I'm definitely not gonna do that next year, because even if it wasn't for coronavirus, there would have been things that we still hadn't done because we just kept talking about them instead of doing them.
We sort of had so many things we all were going to do in May. It's like there's not that much time in May.
And we'd have all had assignments and stuff anyway. So
exactly.
Just try and do as much as you can. Don't just sit around in bed all the time watching TV, which is I think I got into a bit of a habit of doing. I also think I should have asked people to do stuff more, because I'd always want to do stuff, but then I'd be like, I don't know who to ask, like it's kind of awkward to ask, but people will want to do stuff as well, because I know that both of us sort of felt like that.
I was going to say, don't be afraid to just like sit in the kitchen for a bit.
Yeah.
Like if you sort of like want to chat to someone, just like if you sit in the kitchen, people will come in. And and I think as well, don't be afraid to just be like, oh, do you want to go into town or something, or do you want to like come do this with me, or because I think that honestly, I think the biggest thing with uni, especially first year, is just make as many memories as you can.
Yeah, definitely.
So like because I had my Polaroid camera, I think that was one thing I loved. We had like the little Polaroid. Yeah,
and then we took one with us when we left.
Yeah, everyone took a Polaroid each.
Yeah, like do you remember that time? It was really, I think it was in like Freshers Week, where me and you were going to go to town, and then we ended up going to Bristol with LJ.
Yeah.
Which was like, if like we hadn't gone into the kitchen and said to her what we were doing, that wouldn't have happened. Like, just tell her.
Exactly. I think that's the thing. It's just even the smallest thing, like going into town with one other person, even if you don't really need to get anything, like it becomes a memory sort of thing. And
like when we went to get the alcohol for like the last day and we just went to Sainsbury's.
Yeah,
Still,
literally a trip to Sainsbury's is like, it's such like big memory for me.
I just thought we should talk a bit about Freshers Week.
Yes.
So at our uni, you could buy like a wristband for the student union, which a couple of people had in our flat, but I had one, but I didn't use it. And then there was also one that was like for events in the city, which is the one that we all use. But I think they're both good, especially like the student union ones are a bit more like relaxed, I would say.
Yeah.
But I definitely think make the effort to go to some events, even if it's one, just to have the experience. We went most nights, didn't we?
Yeah, I think there was one we didn't, just because there was nothing we really wanted
But then
to go to.
Still socialised.
Yeah, we all sat in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I think the one thing, probably my biggest regret was not buying a wristband as soon as I could for the city one.
Yeah.
I think actually the city, if you're toying between the two, I would get the one for the like in town.
Yeah.
Just because that's the only time you'll get off campus. Yes. That week. Yeah. Because most people, you only really go off campus to go food shopping, but you sort of arrive with all your food. Yeah. Or your parents normally bring you.
The SU one separately as well. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, because I originally didn't have the freshers band for going out.
Yeah.
So I had to buy it off someone who had got it on campus. But I think a lot of people I've heard say, "Oh, I'm going to wait until like to see what my flat's doing." But I would say if you get the opportunity to buy it, because the price does go up. I think it started at like £17. It went up to like 90 or something.
Yeah, I think I got it when it was like 30 or something. But...
Yeah, I ended up buying mine. It was when the price was 80, but I bought it off someone else on campus for like 40 or something. But I would say just like get it straight away, and then you can always sell it on, sort of thing.
I think it like goes back to getting on with your flat. Even if you're not sure if you're going to get on, make the effort in the first week to do stuff maybe with your flat, because you'll meet other people throughout the year anyway if you don't get on. But if you sort of spend time with them, even if you don't end up all like being best mates, you've made some memories of them, so you'll have stuff to talk about, and like you'll just feel a bit more comfortable amongst each other. On the first night when we all, like after all our parents had gone, most of us sat around the table and we played like a game, which was good. And then you went into town, didn't you?
Yeah, we went in. I think most people was just really tired and stuff, so they went to bed, but we sort of were still wide awake, so we wanted to kind of explore Bath a little bit.
Yeah, I think just try and talk to everyone. It all comes back to like just trying to talk to everyone as much as you can, especially in the first week, I would say.
Yeah, I think the first week really like sets the tone for like how the rest of the year is going to go. And if you're really, it's not even about being shy, because obviously, like I've said, I'm really shy.
Yeah, I was really shy.
It's the sort of thing, just like, you know how much effort you've put in, and how like the effort you put in you'll get back. So if you don't bother with anyone, or you don't talk, then they're not going to like really talk to you. Yeah. Sort of, it's the sort of thing, like the best thing about uni is no one knows you previously. So if there's certain things from secondary school where you maybe wish you had done differently, you can do them differently. Like no one knows you, no one knows where you're from or like what school you went to.
Yeah,
I think it's just finding that common ground. So like with us, we used to always talk about like TV shows we used to watch, or like stuff like that. Yeah. And I think that was probably when we properly, like, I think literally went down to the kitchen for like 10 minutes. We sat talking for like 3 hours about CBBC shows.
It happen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just finding something to talk about, and then like we didn't always talk about CBBC shows.
No.
After we'd done that a couple of times, it sort of went on to about whatever.
You know then that you have things in common.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so I think that is everything that we were going to talk about uni, unless you have anything else you want to mention.
No, I don't think I can think of.
I just want to say that obviously everyone's experiences are different. So if you aren't as lucky with your flat as us. Like you could have like a flat that are just gonna get on. You will make other friends in other places. Like we both know people from our course and stuff. But definitely do make an effort with your flat regardless. So yeah, the last thing that I ask everyone is, what is the best advice that you've ever been given?
I think it's kind of split between two. I was trying to think about it. I feel like the best one, just in terms of like life in general, and especially like education, like in terms of uni. My mum would always say to me, like anytime I had a test or anything, she was always just like, you can only do the best you can do, sort of thing. So like, don't stress over it or anything, because as long as you put the most effort you can do in, then like there's nothing more you can do.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good for like education, because just because you don't get really high in like GCSEs doesn't mean you're not clever or anything. Or yeah, I think as well, just like, I remember I was in an audition once, and obviously you're so nervous in auditions, and one of the person auditioning me literally just said, I was like just about to sleep, he was like, look, I just need to say this because I feel like I should. He was like, life's just too short, so just make as many memories as you can and capture as many moments as you can, and like, do you know what I mean? So you've always got things to look back on. So yeah, I think that one stuck with me. That's why it was so like, I was taking pictures of everyone at uni, because it's always those things. Yeah, it's always those things you always want to look back on them. Or yeah,
That's definitely good. Okay, so I think that's everything. Thank you so much for coming on.
all right.
This will be like really useful for anyone who's starting in September.
I was gonna say thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, everybody, so I'm just editing this video, and I just wanted to pop on the end to say that we also filmed a part 2 to this over on Jess's channel, so that'll be linked down below. So yeah, if you want to hear a bit more, definitely head over to her channel. We covered like assignments, what lectures are like, everything like that. So definitely head over to Jess's channel to see part 2. Thank you.